it's in the consistency where we get our discipline. Everybody's not willing to go through the consistency that it takes to get to that next level. Well, welcome everybody back to New Wine, brought to you by Uppa Level Enterprises. I'm your boy, Joshua Miles. It's good to be back, and hope everybody is excited as I am for just this time and the seasons that we're in. And, you know, I just feel like part of my purpose is to, bring training to those that are in need of just hunger, of more wisdom, more knowledge, more understanding. Of course, these things come from the Lord God, and we just thank God today for actually allowing us to be here, especially in a time such as this. But I really feel like it's a great time for us to be here, and I'm excited what's to come. So without further ado or delay, I want to talk to us about an important subject, and I think it's going to actually really bless you. It's going to enrich you today. It's called consistency. How many of us actually kind of need help with being consistent? I know I do, me. I'll tell you, I'm the first to really, really need to have consistency in my life. And there's always a lot of, trials and tribulations as we, grow and get older and get wiser. But I believe that consistency is one of the hardest things that we face on an everyday challenge, because consistency, especially doing the right things of habits and, different types of eating and how you work out and all these things that are on a daily routine that we go through every day in life, can kind of get a little boring sometimes. But it's in the consistency where we get our discipline, our training, our values, and it helps us to become the better person that we're called to be. So with that being said, the word consistency, I always like to break stuff down. Consistency means unchanging in nature, standard, or effective over time. I'm going to say that one more time. Unchanging in nature, standard, or effective over time. So basically, is how do I continue to stay in a world that is always changing, even through our technology. Of course, every day something is changing. Our phones are changing. Everything consistently changes of what we do in life, right? But the main foundation thing is that our character will not be swayed or changed, that we will be able to be consistent of developing in the right manner, in the right discipline, and those things are going to take us to that level, right? But the enemy against consistency is what? Procrastination. Yeah, I hate that word too. But it's procrastination. I'm glad you asked. Procrastination is actually, and Webster says it this way, is a delay or postpone action, put off doing something. How many of us every day say we're going to do this and do that, and yet something seems like it always comes up that we miss it? And then we miss it by now making what's called an excuse. I hate that word too, excuses. And I feel like, honestly, right now, we use way more excuses today in our society than we do accountability. And I know that's a strong word too. Accountability is a very strong word in these times. I get it. Because you have to be accountable first to yourself and then to the people around you, because that's what makes part of the consistency rely on now, the accountability. right? And then I was thinking about Moses in the Bible, actually, of how God had called him to lead the children of Israel. And what's crazy about that is the fact that Moses was already in a wilderness before he went to the real wilderness. As a matter of fact, the wilderness that he went into in the beginning when he fled from Egypt, he was there for 40 years. And he was there in a wilderness of 40 years of when he had met his wife and all these things. And just, if you can go and read that story, I think it'll really bless you where you might even be at now. But anyways, he was actually in a wilderness before he had even got to even handle God's people, right? So what happens is you're already in a place to where God is already training you, and yet you don't realize that place is training you for the next level, right? And so what happens is we can be at a place and we don't even understand why we're actually there, but yet it's because training and consistency is taking place in our lives so that we will have good habits of where we're about to go next, right? Isn't that good? Because I believe that what happens is we get discouraged because we keep repeating things over and over again. I was just saying this a little earlier, that it becomes so boring in our lives that now it's like, why am I even doing this? Even young people, we're going to school and we're like, man, why am I taking calculus? Why am I taking all these things? How is this going to benefit me really in the real world? You're right. You're absolutely right. But you know what I told my daughter? I said, it's the fact that you might not even use calculus of what you're going in, but it's the discipline and the consistency of making sure you're able to even finish the work. You see, it's not about the subject or the matter so at hand. It's how you handle what's being put in front of you. And that's where I think we get a little off, because we're not really understanding or even realizing that it's going to help shape us and tool us of where we're actually about to go in the future, right? So it's amazing because, again, Moses had made so many excuses when God came to him and told him, hey, you know what, Moses? I'm ready for you to lead my people. And what did Moses say? Oh, man, Lord, you know what? I got a stuttering problem. I can't do this. How many of us have some type of excuse right now we could actually just say, man, you know what? I know I ain't qualified for this. But what I'm seeing, though, in life is the fact that when it's bigger than you, it is you. Because at the end of the day, you don't realize that you are already training for a position that you don't even realize you're about to enter into in life. I know it might not make sense of what I'm saying right now, but if you could actually just go back over your life right now and you can start seeing like, man, okay, I had to maybe face this challenge over here for a little while, because actually now that I'm over here, it really did kind of help me get over to where I'm at now, because it might be harder for everybody else being where I'm at right now, but yet it's easy for me. You know why? Because you went through the consistency of being trained for it. You see what I'm saying? Everybody's not willing to go through the consistency that it takes to get to that next level, right? So, you know, it's always easy, and watch this, it's always easy to do the wrong thing, but yet it's so much more complicated to do the right thing. What do I mean by that? It's easy to mess up, but it's harder to say I'm sorry, right? It's hard. It's much easier. Watch this. Even like we're in our relationships, right? In a relationship that you might have with your spouse or your loved one, your father, your sister, your brother, your mother. It's hard to sometimes have to deal with going back to say, I'm sorry, let me get it right. Because it's so easy to be caught up in our own way of thinking that, you know what, I don't owe them no apology. I'm just going to stay exactly what I've been doing. No, but it doesn't. But honestly, if you ask yourself, does it even feel good to stay in a place to where you know something ain't right? You know it ain't good. And all it does, it builds up and it becomes what's called pride. And then pride in the long run equals death. But my prayer today is that, you know what? How can we be more consistent of what's at hand? You already are called and you are chosen right now in this particular time to do something. I just want to encourage you right now. I want to love on you real quick. Start doing what you know was in your heart to do. You have purpose. You have destiny. That stuff is real. And the more we keep on these episodes, we're going to get even deeper. I'm just want to keep laying a foundation for you to see this is not a coincidence. You are actually where you're supposed to be. Stay consistent. Stay in the fight. It's more to come. Stay tuned. See you next time.